Lights, please. Once again, it's time to celebrate the glorious traditions of the holiday season. One such holiday shines more brightly than the rest. I am, of course, speaking of the Task Force X Xmas party. It would be happening right now, except sadly, the team blew their budget all the way back in March. With that in mind, it's time for the next best thing. A big, overblown holiday special! In Ecuador, Batman and Superman save the day, defeating a monster and protecting a local settlement. With this done, Superman goes to buy his son John a gift. However, Batman warns him that the gift John wants, a new game system, is this year's hot item, and with the stores about to close, Superman better hurry. Clark manages to find one last copy of the console, but before he can get it, none other than Damian Wayne is able to snatch up the last copy for himself. With nothing else Clark can do, the Kents and the Waynes enjoy Christmas together. Clark is surprised to find that Damian actually got the console for John, and Superboy is delighted at this gift. Surprised, Superman asks if Bruce knew about this, and Batman replies that he's the world's greatest detective. But no, he didn't. Another important part of the holidays is cartoon specials on TV. Harley has one queued up right now. It's a story of how Killer Frost, Captain Cold, and Mr. Freeze once froze Santa's reindeer and planned to ruin Christmas. Fortunately, Harley arrived riding Krypto the super dog, and they blasted the bad guys away. However, Christmas wasn't saved so easily, and the reindeer all had colds after being defrosted. Luckily, Krypto already agreed to work as Santa's super sled dog. With that, Santa races off, a little too fast for his comfort. This reminds Harley of another story about this super dog. On Christmas Day, John is worried that this dog might be having trouble accepting the fact that he is a Kryptonian. He points out that Krypto has had a lot to deal with this year. Between the Eradicator, Intergang, Superman taking the mantle again, it's been a pretty stressful year for Krypto. Picking up on this, both Lois and Clark know their son could use a trip out. Superman takes John to the Fortress of Solitude and brings him to the trophy room. Though being a superhero is a big responsibility, it isn't all a burden. As one of the last Kryptonians, they carry with them not just Krypton's mistakes, but their art, history, science, and culture. Looking over the many things here, John wistfully muses there are more toys in this room than Santa's workshop. John stops at an old gallery of Superman suits and is taken in by the original costume Clark first wore as Superman. Clark says he wore this because it reminds him of his Kryptonian legacy, and John suddenly has a great idea. Back at the Kent home, Superboy brings a gift to his dog, a new collar forged from the belt of Superman's old costume. John wants to show Krypto that he's part of this family, and that they're all in this together. Elsewhere, cold is normal in a city. Things move fast, and madness is always around the corner. Again, it's normal. Just an ordinary night in the city. But it turned out to be one of the strangest nights in LA's history. This is a story of how they saved Christmas. His name's Bobo, also known as Detective Chimp. He's the world's real greatest detective, in spite of what you might have heard. But this case was unbelievable. The client worked as a mall Santa. One of the people playing an elf just stole this man's special prize-winning dog, and he wants it back. Normally, Detective Chimp is above this kind of work, but with everyone out of town, he doesn't have much else to work on. Investigation finds the elf is as dirty as they come. He used to work for a villain called the Calculator, back in his hometown. Gotham, a den of rats and other critters. It's hard to find people in this city, but Chimp just so happens to know a guy. At Wayne Manor, Alfred greets Detective Chimp amicably, and takes him down into the Batcave. Bobo solved this mystery a long time ago, and greets Bruce Wayne, the Batman. He needs help finding the elf, but Bruce isn't terribly interested in finding a missing dog. Batman has a case of his own, the murder of Gotham's deputy mayor. With a quick glance, the world's greatest detective solves the case, and Bobo asks Batman if he can help find the dog now. Grumbling, yet impressed, Bruce agrees, and the two set out. They go to the usual hiding spots for crooks and find no sign of the elf, but they do pick up a tip concerning a bar down at the docks. They find the elf and give it chase, only for the idiot to slip up and fall on his drink. They interrogate him and find the man's missing dog, which turns out to be a reindeer with a glowing nose. They take it back to Wayne Manor and call the client, who somehow immediately arrives. Even more mysteriously, he knows Alfred by name. Also, he somehow got his way through a storm even though all the flights are grounded into and out of Gotham. Bobo has a strange thought, but dismisses it as silly. Unable to return to LA, Alfred instead invites Detective Chimp to spend Christmas with them, and he agrees. It might sound crazy, but Bobo really thinks he and Batman saved Christmas this year. Better still, Chimp got to do what he wanted most for the holidays, surrounding himself with good friends and good cheer. Here's hoping you get the same. On the winter solstice, Constantine observes a large group of witches celebrating amongst themselves. John's here on business. He's been having nightmares due to a curse, and hasn't been able to sleep for days. He's tracked down the witch who cast this spell to this place. Her name is Brangwen, but he can't seem to find her. Instead, he spots something else that catches his eye: Wonder Woman. She is not pleased to see John, and is here looking for Dionysus, who has fled Olympus. John suggests they work together, and Diana reluctantly accepts this arrangement. They search for an hour and learn that their targets might actually be working together, which is not a good sign. John decides it's time for a little bit of an expanded search, and, going up to a witch communicating with some spirits, summons them here. They lead the two towards Brangwen and Dionysus. When Constantine is dismissive of the ghosts, many of whom were killed over suspected witchcraft, Diana offers them small consolation which they appreciate. They lead the two to a church. Inside, they find one of their targets, and Brangwen is frozen in place by Constantine with a spell. Diana knows the other is not Dionysus, but the stranger flees at the sight of the two heroes. Though the being is able to evade Wonder Woman, Constantine summons the ghosts, who are able to provide a distraction long enough for Diana and John to capture him. Wonder Woman vows to get to the bottom of this, but first asks Brangwen to lift the curse on Constantine. She agrees to do so, only if John tells her about what nightmares he's been getting from the curse. Under pressure from Diana, he agrees, and when he tells her, the witch bursts out laughing. Appreciating this, she thanks John, who is quick to go get some rest, while Wonder Woman takes her new prisoner away. In his dreams, John is angered to find his nightmare has returned. In Central City, Barry Allen pays a visit to an old friend of his and her foster son, Malcolm. The young man is worried that he's only been in his new home for a few months, and fears that Santa won't be able to find him. Barry tells Malcolm that he used to be a foster kid too, and he remembers being scared during his first Christmas with his foster family as well. So Barry decides it's time to share with this young man a big secret. These days, in Central City, Santa has a very special helper. Once, some years ago, the rogues staged a robbery on Christmas. They bundled up lots of money, but before they could make their escape, the Flash arrived. Yet the rogues had a trick up their sleeve: 12 bombs planted all over the city. The Flash is frustrated to hear this, as Snart promised he was done hurting people. But the thief remarks that he has total faith that the hero can stop all 12 of the explosives. He just won't be able to do that and stop the rogues. With that, the Flash flees while the rogues make their way to the getaway van. However, before they can flee, the Flash returns and steals the vehicle's engine. Cold attacks, which makes the Flash slip into the path of an oncoming truck. The vehicle swerves and crashes to avoid our hero. Looking over the wreckage, the driver is saddened as he's delivering these toys to kids in foster care. Many are orphans that have just been placed with new families, and there's no way they will be able to send another truck in time. Captain Cold hears this, and, in spite of the trickster's protests, he willingly returns all the money he stole, and asks that the Flash go and deliver those presents. He doesn't want to ruin the holidays of a bunch of kids. That is the sort of thing that can mess somebody up for a long time. Barry knows this too. Leonard promises to lay low until New Year's and wishes Barry luck, while Arden thanks his longtime enemy. Cold promises to make his life hell in a few weeks, and wishes the Flash a Merry Christmas. And ever since then, the Rogues and the Flash have enjoyed a truce on the holidays, so as to never again knock over Santa's sleigh. More so, no matter how much it might snow, the Flash vowed to help Santa deliver presents to all the children in Central City. Malcolm is happy to hear this story, and Barry wishes him a good night. The boy goes to bed until late at night, when he hears a strange sound. Downstairs, he finds the Flash delivering a gift, before he disappears. Batwoman hasn't been doing much lately. She misses her father, and in memory of the time they used to spend together every Hanukkah in this diner, has come here once more. She is approached by a stranger who says he needs Kate's help. He claims that he can read her mind and knows she is Batwoman, but Kate wants nothing to do with this. Suddenly, they are approached by two strange men, and the lights go out. The strangers are gone, but Kate is given a message. She relays it to her friend Kit, who is amused as she hasn't talked to Batwoman in quite some time. Kit knows this message comes from her friend Tributary, a technologist who used to work for arms dealers to supply weapons to terrorists. When he found out what they were up to, he rigged their systems to self-destruct. By now, they have captured him and are probably trying to force him to end the self-destruct sequence before it finishes. And knowing he will refuse, Tributary is almost certainly going to be killed over all of this. She fights her way past the arms dealers and manages to help Tributary carry out the self-destruct, saving the day. Kate, Kit, and Tributary meet up at the diner afterwards, and the hacker gives a gift to Kate, a USB with all the information needed to go after the rest of the arms dealers. With that done, Kate realizes she's very happy to be here, and feels like she's surrounded by family for the first time in ages. Kit asks what Kate and her father did here, and she says that her dad always liked to tell the story of Hanukkah like he was pitching some movie. At her friend's prompting, she agrees to continue this tradition. Cut to 2,000 years ago, as we pan over an army of Greek invaders. The Maccabees are ready for war. On New Year's, a well-armed, enhanced car is tearing through the city as the Titans are struggling to stop its two crazy drivers. The car is well protected, and the drivers are skilled and clever enough to avoid Nightwing and very nearly kill Roy Harper. As they speed off, a frustrated Roy sits for a moment and takes a breather. His other teammates catch up and are worried, but Roy explains that he just wanted a peaceful New Year's. This is one of his favorite times of the year. As somebody who, more than anyone else, needed a new chapter and a new start, which is pretty much what this holiday is all about, Roy really appreciates New Year's and just wanted to enjoy it. Hearing this, and knowing that without the Flash here, it's going to be tough to take these guys down, Nightwing comes up with a better plan. They don't need to catch these guys, they just have to push the right buttons. Stealing a car, which Nightwing promises he'll make Bruce pay for any damages over, they challenge the rampaging drivers to a race, easily goading them into agreeing. With Roy driving, the two cars take off, but the enhanced vehicle is far too powerful for the stolen car. However, as the bad guys win the race, the Titans are able to ambush the car and throw it into the river, arresting the two criminals. With the day saved, the Titans enjoy the start of the New Year's together, and Roy even gets a kiss. As Nightwing enjoys the fun, he remembers he is late and races off to a date with Barbara. Fortunately, she was also busy as Batgirl, and is also late, such that the two arrive at the exact same time. Amused, they agree to stay and enjoy what is left of the fireworks. On January 6th, Three Kings Day, Green Lantern Jessica Cruz and her partner Simon Baz are getting ready to celebrate the holiday. However, they are called away by an unauthorized alien presence on Earth and move to respond. Jessica is still new to all of this. It's been a long and tough road, but this is her job now. This is who she is. They arrive at the location of the strange activity and find three aliens waiting for them. They say they are the Rex, come here to judge the Earth. They ask if the Lanterns will accept this burden, a series of challenges with the entire planet's future on the line. Failure will doom the world to famine and decay, while success grants a millennium of opportunity. With their communications to the outside world blocked, and their powers utterly useless against these strange beings, the Lanterns have no choice but to agree. First is the trial of suffering, and in an instant, both Jessica and Simon find themselves back before they encounter the powers of the Green Lantern. The Ring of Volthoom approaches Jessica. This thing almost killed her. It poisoned her mind and forced her to hurt people. But both the Lanterns remember that though power can cause pain and fear, it can also be used for protection. They agree that though there is a cost to this power, they will pay it, 100 times over. They accept the rings once more. The first trial is passed, but the next will be that of sincerity. They ask the two Lanterns to answer this question. Who among them is the true Green Lantern of Sector 2814? The Lanterns glance at each other, and for a moment, Jessica thinks Simon will declare himself that Lantern. It does make sense. She is a rookie. But Simon instead says this will not work. They will not be pitted against each other. They are a team. It is both of them or neither. The aliens are impressed and say only one last trial remains. It is a battle to the death with their champion, which is some sort of strange armored bear. Simon is knocked down, and the bear towers over Jessica. The aliens give her one chance to leave, dooming Earth, but sparing her. And though Jessica's afraid, she reminds herself what it means to be a Green Lantern, and stands her ground. The final test, the test of integrity, is passed. With that, the aliens congratulate the Lanterns and promise a gift tomorrow before leaving. The two are contacted by Hal, who says nobody detected any alien activity in the area during the entire ordeal. Unsure of what to make of that, the Lanterns say they are fine and go home to celebrate. They find Jessica's sister, Sarah, left them a Rosca de Reyes, the King's Ring, a traditional Three Kings Day dish, as a reward for their harrowing journey. Simon says Jessica did well, and has full trust in his partner. As he bites into the cake, he thinks he finds a rock. Instead, it is a prize. Hope. With that, the holiday special ends, and the entire DC gang wish everyone a happy holidays. All the holidays. Next year, Task Force X promises not to blow the budget early again, so just you wait. It's gonna be awesome. 3 months later, the budget is gone. Hello and welcome to Comic Island. My name is Arden, and this is my recap and review of DC Rebirth Holiday Special number 1. So this was a blast, a really fun anthology that worked well and had a giant barrage of DC's best, bringing us a sincere and wonderful series of stories. Some were better than others, of course, but highlights of this issue are most certainly the Flash story, which was touching and beautifully drawn by Robbie Rodriguez, the Green Lantern story, which was unique and different and therefore great, and the Detective Chimp story, as I'm always a fan of this somewhat obscure DC character. Those aren't the only good ones, though. Superman got a lot of great moments with his son. John Constantine and Wonder Woman have a dynamic the world needs to see more of. And I did enjoy the Titans story quite a bit, even if it's just sort of through the way it was resolved through a race and quick thinking over just out superpowering them. In general, I also like this comic's approach to celebrating the many holidays of this season. Yes, we got plenty of Christmas and Hanukkah standard bearers, but by lumping in others like New Year's and Three Kings, we get a diverse blend of stories. Like, I have no problem with Christmas stories, most of these are centered around that holiday, but doing them all about Christmas would have been boring. This wasn't. We got a taste of New Year's and other stuff too, and that made it kind of fun. And though I did find some of the stories a bit lacking, it was a nice comic with a lot of great elements at play. I will say there was one story with the new Superman that I found kind of pointless, and a lot of the filler with Harley Quinn and the other DC heroes in between each issue, written by Paul Dini, which would, mean something normally, don't really do much. I will say Paul Dini did a much better job in the Batman Annual #1 with his Harley Quinn story there, as this stuff was just insubstantial content to bridge the gap between each story. Overall, I enjoyed this comic and think you would too. Selling at $10, it is a bit expensive, but the thing is so long I do feel it's worth it, and DC's been really good about pricing this year. This comic also feels like a great gift if you're looking for a last-minute sort of thing for a comic book fan. Thanks for watching this video. This was actually a Patreon request. Every week, we hold a poll to review a bonus comic and make a video on the winner. I'm glad I got this. It's a fun little celebratory comic to review right before Christmas and was a lovely way for me to get into the holiday spirit. I hope you all have a great time celebrating whatever it is you observe, and as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep reading comics.